Hey guys, Weeby News here. So today I'm going to be covering my top 5 favorite trials of the Danganronpa series. And before I start this, I do want to mention that there was sort of an announcement regarding Danganronpa 3, the anime. It's nothing really too big, but back on Twitter, Famitsu released some pictures showing Mihiru, Sayunji, and Mikan and the article they were going to be doing on them. And I think a lot of people, including myself, were sort of under the impression that it was going to cover their background stories and how their stories in the Despair arc were going to be. It seems that was not the case. I was on Tai Chenchen's Tumblr, and they stated that it's mostly just kind of recap information, and other than this sort of like neat interior artwork of Hope Speak Academy, there's not really a whole lot to see. So I'll link the original post in the description if you guys want to check that out. But I just wanted to mention that in case you guys followed me on Twitter and saw that I mentioned it. But yeah, apparently there's no real news from it, just sort of like a teaser. But getting back to the top trials video, I did want to mention that I'm only including the first 5 trials of each game to be considered for this list. And I know that some of you guys are probably thinking, why would you have a top 5 list when there's only 10 trials to choose from? To that I would say, I really like the trials in these games, so it's kind of hard to choose from even though I'm doing like half of them. I mean, I honestly don't think I disliked any of the trials. Like, some were kind of less exciting for me, but they were all really good, so I know it's kind of like grandiose of me to do a top 5 out of 10, but I like them all, so it doesn't really feel that grandiose of me to do, personally. But another reason why I'm only considering the first 10 is because I really want to focus on my favorite, like, murder mystery cases rather than the final boss battle type trials, because those are just kind of hard to compare to them since they seem kind of different. It's a lot of the biggest reveals too, so it seems like they would both be 1 and 2 automatically just because of all the big reveals at the end. So, but thanks again to the user Green Bash for requesting this video. I apologize that it took over 3 months at least to finally do this, and thanks to everybody in the comments section that reminded me about this video because, to be honest, I sort of forgot about it. Anyways, it's here now, so without further ado, let's begin. So number 5 is the third class trial from Super Danganronpa 2, and the reason I chose this trial isn't necessarily because it was hard to figure out the killer or anything. I actually thought compared to some of the other trials, it was a little bit easier, not like obvious, but sort of as I was going through the trial, it was a little bit easier to narrow down who the killer was to me. But the reason I really chose this trial is because of the way they revealed Mikan's dark side. It was honestly just like incredible to me. The build-up revealing her true self was just really climactic, and like I mentioned in my favorite characters video, it really got me interested in Mikan's character. The end of the trial leaves a sort of like ominous vibe towards the group and holds a lot of foreshadowing towards the end of the game, and this is something I really appreciated a lot looking back at this trial after completing the game. And even after everything was revealed in the final trial, one of the first things I thought of was going back to this trial and seeing all the foreshadowing that was really held when Mikan is discussing how she got her memory back and things like that. And it's honestly one of the only times we really get to see how the remnants of Despair acted, with the exception of Kamaida in another episode. This is really one of the times that we really get to see how the Super Danganronpa 2 characters would have acted as Remnants of Despair. Plus, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed already, but I sort of love crazy characters, which might be one of the reasons why I like Danganronpa so much, and the way Mikan acted during this trial was super entertaining to me and also just super intriguing. I think the reason I sort of like characters that are a little bit off their marbles a little bit more is because they are so much more fun to analyze and sort of figure out like why they do what they do. And in Danganronpa, I mean, everyone's actions are really explained once you sort of break characters down, so I think that's one of the reasons I like that. But overall, this chapter just held a really unique and creepy vibe, and it really contained one of the most climactic killer reveals, in my opinion, for the Danganronpa series, so that is what makes it number 5 on this list. Number 4 on this list is the 4th trial from Danganronpa 1, and I really enjoyed this trial because it hit all aspects of emotion to me. Hagakure and Fukawa's antics throughout this trial were pretty damn funny to watch, and them going back and forth about who done it was pretty great to me. Also, I thought the mystery aspect of this trial was really strong as well. To be completely honest, I was pretty stumped this whole trial, and I think it was just because I was being really way too stubborn about it. I was super convinced for some reason that Monokuma had done it the whole entire time, and I convinced myself to the point that even by the end of the trial, when it was pretty obvious that Sakura had, you know, killed herself, I still tried to accuse Monokuma when I had to like accuse somebody at the end of the trial. But at that point, you know, once I couldn't select him, I gave up. But anyways, I just kind of thought the mystery aspect was really fun. And of course, the end of this trial was really emotional and on a completely different spectrum than how the trial had started off. And when Asahina revealed her actions about messing with a crime, it was really heartbreaking to have to learn why she did it. And I forgot to mention this in my top characters video, but this was one of the trials that really made me feel for Gami's character as well, and was probably the main reason why I put her in my top characters list. And even though she was a traitor, she really tried to make up for her actions with everyone, and they all ended up turning their backs on her, and it just really made me sympathize with her character. And of course, when Asahina revealed how she had attempted to kill them all for this, it really turned the trial around and was very emotionally impactful for me. And of course, everything gets turned around again when we find out that Monokuma actually forged Sakura's message. So overall, this trial was just a huge emotional roller coaster, and it had a lot of really good plot twists and exciting, surprising moments, and overall, I felt like it was really well-rounded, and that is why it is on this list. So number 3 on this list is the second trial from Super Danganronpa 2. Sort of like the last trial, I felt like this trial had a wide range of emotions, from the hilarity of Peko pretending to be sparkling justice to the heartbreaking moments at the end right before the execution. And not to mention that this trial really had me guessing who the murderer was until the very last second. And it's really honestly one of the craziest things about this trial was how my feelings towards Peko and Kuzuryu went from being, you know, sort of like lukewarm, I could go either way about them, to just being so sympathetic of them towards the end and really not wanting Peko to be executed at all, when before I was kind of like, you know, whatever. But I really felt like the way they showed Peko's backstory, even though it was sort of quick, and I know some people might, you know, argue that it was sort of rushed or something, I honestly didn't even notice it being that quick of a reveal, and it was almost like the story was so captivating, I sort of forgot about the execution until like right when it happened, and I was just like, oh no, she can't. It's pretty rare that I've ever watched or played anything that's made me change my emotions so quickly for a couple of characters, so overall I just felt like this trial was a really solid one, and that's why it's on my list. Number 2 on this list is the 5th trial of Danganronpa 1, or what I like to call the detention trial. This one was a really fun trial in my opinion, and a pretty big mindfuck with the alternate ending. Having there be a good and a bad end raised the stakes so much to me, and that's one of the reasons I'd really like to see more alternate endings in V3 whenever it comes out. I like that this sort of extra stake was raised towards the end of the game too, and the fact that there hadn't been any alternate endings until this point really made the whole situation come as a surprise. From the emotional aspect of this trial, it really was so messed up how everyone was willing to turn their back on Naegi from Monokuma's meddling after he had helped everyone and put up with so much flack from people, especially in the free time events. I'm looking at you, Tagami. So that part really made me sympathize with his character and honestly think about how in life people like Naegi who give and give and give often never receive anything back. And the crazy part about this whole thing to me was that Naegi wasn't bitter at all. After the group apologized, he forgave them pretty much immediately, while a person like myself probably would have been a little bitter about it still. And I remember in my top 15 characters list, a few of you guys were kind of confused as to why I put Naegi so high. Not that he's like a bad character, but I think a lot of people didn't find him as relatable, and the thing is, he is so nice that it does kind of make him less relatable, but I feel like he really inspires me to improve myself, because even though, you know, he often doesn't get anything back, he's still one of the happiest, content characters in the game, and it's really something I would like to do myself and really improve on. But enough self-reflection, this YouTube channel really isn't for that, even though I sort of feel that way after graduation, not gonna lie. But one last thing I want to mention is that this chapter revealed Mikuro Ikasaba, which was a pretty big plot point and really built up towards the main reveals of the game. So overall, I really enjoyed this trial and chapter and felt like it was a really strong trial to lead to the climax of the game. So my top favorite trial of the Danganronpa series thus far is the 5th trial from Super Danganronpa 2, because apparently I'm a masochist and I just love watching my favorite characters die. But for real, this trial was so sad, and I kind of figured this would be the trial where Kamada flipped out, because honestly from the beginning, even on like the very first trial of the game, I knew this character is going to be my favorite character, but he's also going to go ballistic and he's also going to die at some point. And I kind of always figured it would be the 5th trial, and there was so much build up in the trial before that, and of course leading up to his death, so it seemed kind of obvious that he was going to do that, and His death honestly wasn't as sad to me, like even close to being as sad to me as Chiaki's, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. One thing I really was shocked about involving Komaeda in this trial is just the way his plan played out. I honestly have no idea how Kodaka comes up with these scenarios and mysteries, because I never in a million years would have been able to come up with what Komaeda did in this trial. I mean, it was just insane how much detail there was to it. As for Chiaki, I was really surprised when she died, and when we found out that she was the traitor, I sort of knew that there was some sort of mystery about her, and that, you know, maybe she could be the traitor because she did have that mysterious aura around her. But she kind of, I mean, she is really like the Kirigiri of the second game, so I just did not think that she would get executed. It was just really shocking to me. And of course, having to accuse her at the end of the trial was just really sad and horrible, knowing that the murder was honestly unintentional on her part. And having to see Hajame's reactions to her slowly but surely making it very obvious that she was a traitor was just so heartbreaking to me, and especially when Monami's trying to save her. It's just really sad, and very much like Naegi, she's just a really inspiring character to me, and I really enjoyed this trial, as heartbreaking as it was. But that concludes my top trials list. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and be sure to let me know what your favorite trials are in the comment section as well. I would love to hear them. And one thing I did want to mention was that another trial that was really close to making it into this list was the second trial of Danganronpa 1. I honestly had to like break down reasons and do a huge selection process deciding on whether to put that as my 5th favorite trial or the Mikon trial as my 5th favorite trial, so it was kind of hard. I really enjoyed that trial too. I thought the killer was shocking, I thought the Fujisaki reveal was pretty shocking, the gender reveal, and some of you guys said you saw that coming. I did not. But hey, good on you, that's cool. And of course that had like a lot of emotional aspects to it as well, which I think I talked about it a pretty good bit in my top fucked up moments video, so you can check that out if you haven't already seen it. But I just wanted to mention that trial as well and kind of give it like an honorable mention. But like I said, I really like all the trials. I mean, the trials are pretty much the meat of this game in my opinion, and probably what I look forward to most when I'm playing the game. So honestly, I really enjoy all of them, and this was kind of a hard list to make, even though it literally is like half the trials. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be posting the Celestia Ludenberg character analysis. I think I'm gonna do that one before Fukawa. I've really been looking forward to it, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that one first if there's no more like news updates and stuff. But keep a lookout for that, and then after that, I kind of have a couple of just like different ideas on videos sort of things, so keep an eye open, and I will see you guys real soon.
Subscribe to Weeby News for more hope-filled videos.